Welcome to this media session edition of Talking Hoosier Baseball. I am Carl James. Today is Thursday, March 24th, 2022. The Indiana University Baseball Program hosted a media session today where various media outlets, including IUBase.com, was able to ask questions of head coach Jeff Mercer, center fielder Bobby Whalen, starting pitcher Jack Perkins, and catcher Matthew Ellis, aka #Big Country. So this session includes a group with the players, followed by head coach Jeff Mercer. Bobby, how are you doing after hitting the wall?
I'm feeling good. I'm ready to go.
Okay, good. Matthew, there's been a lot of discussion on Twitter about what your hashtag is going to be for your home runs. Do you want to weigh in on this at all?
No, I've seen some good ones, but I think they finally went with Big Country, so I guess we'll roll with that for now and see how far we can take it.
Okay. Jack, you're going to be obviously leading the staff here going into to another weekend. While you've been improving quite a bit with your performances, the staff is still kind of struggling. What are you doing as a leader to kind of help the team get through this particular rough spot?
Yeah, I think just, talking the guys through, sticking to the process. I mean, I've had my own failures in the past, and going through the mental side of that can be very challenging. But, as a team, I think we've done a great job of sticking together, pushing each other each day, just holding each other accountable to the standard we've set and that we're going to continue to set each and every day and just working through it. We're a very talented staff, and I think, at the end of the year, we're going to look back on this and say it was just a bump in the road, and, we're going to be good to go. So I have full confidence in our guys.
Good. Bobby, you're kind of anchoring the lineup in the 3-hole, both providing power and speed. You seem to hold up pretty well to that kind of responsibility. How does that feel? How's that feeling for you in your role in the lineup?
It feels really good. It's a really easy spot to be in when I have Dones and Phil in front of me to get on base, so I get to drive them in. And then when I get on base, I just try to get in scoring position for Ellis to drive me in. So it's really one of the easiest spots in the lineup to be because I got cushion in the front, cushion in the back.
Okay.
Baseball can just be such an up and down sport, a little bit of a rough stretch right now. Just what's the mentality that you guys tell yourself in the clubhouse heading into this series?
Matt, why don't you take that one first?
Yeah, we're just going to keep moving forward, just keep sticking to the process that we've done the entire year. We know it works. You see the results from the offensive side. You see what we're capable of, and then we know the pitchers are going to come along fast. We saw what they did the entire fall and winter, so we know they'll be there in the end. So it's just keeping our foot, on the pedal of what we've been doing.
I would just say, one of the core pillars of our team is the brotherhood. It's something we talk about a lot, and I feel like we've stuck really strongly together. We're a very cohesive group. Like we say, the pitching hasn't necessarily got it done, and we're fully aware of that, but we're going to keep grinding each day, and at the end of the year, we're going to have a full, well-oiled machine, and we're going to be ready to go for postseason. So that's what really matters.
I'll go ahead. So I'm doing the sideline for BTN this weekend, and my broadcast, I like to make sure people at home can get to know you guys well. So my questions are going to be a little bit different than other things, but I want to know about Bobby. You raised a bunch of money for ASL research. I want to know about that.
Yeah, so when I was young, my best friend's dad, we're like family. He was diagnosed with ALS when I was in 6th grade. He ended up passing away my freshman year of high school. So then my junior year of high school, we came together and we started a fundraiser for ALS through our football teams. And we worked together and we ended up raising over $300,000. So yeah, it's still something that sticks with me and something I think about every day.
Yeah, does that give you a lot of passion going forward? Do you think about that a lot?
Yeah, I think about it just about every minute of the day.
You guys have more questions for me? Go ahead.
When the pitching staff, there's a couple guys that are maybe struggling, but others that aren't. Is it more so just like picking guys up, and how do you sort of do that after a guy maybe struggles on the mound one day?
Yeah, I think I referred to it earlier, just sticking to the process, having confidence in each other. Confidence is a huge factor in the game of baseball. Just building each other up. You might have a down day, but if you're handing the ball off to the next guy out of the pen, he has your back, and he's going to get the job done. Even when that doesn't happen, they're going to get it done the next time. So baseball is a crazy sport. It's a game of failure. It's a game you have to keep going and push through those lows. But yeah, as a pitching staff, we're going to figure it out. This is a resilient group, and we're going to keep going. And like I said, we're going to be good at the end of the day. That's all that matters.
Matthew and Bobby, you're both either. I mean, in case of Bobby, you didn't play a ton last year, and you're coming up a level, Matthew. What is different about hitting at this level in D1 with the kind of pitching you guys have faced? What is different, and what has allowed you to succeed in that?
Yeah, I think, it honestly has been a pretty smooth transition for me. I know for him as well, if you look at his results, early in the year, it's been a pretty good transition for us both. I think a lot of it has to do with, Mercer, Weatherford, and Simmons, kind of what they put us through in the wintertime, preparing us to the best that they could. We were challenging ourselves each and every day, on the machines, on the field, in live situations. So just, them putting us in situations that we're going to be in the spring, a few months ago, and being able to do that over and over again has really prepared us well. And I think that's some of the results you're seeing now.
Yeah, like he said, the coaches put us through everything. It's almost like when you get to the game, it's like finally you get a chance to succeed. So just failing all the time in the cages and out here against our own pitching, it's really, they just set us up for success, and that's what we've been doing.
Definitely a new group heading into the season. How would you guys say the chemistry is now, and how those bonds have kind of formed?
Bobby, why don't you take that one first?
Yeah, I think the bond is about as good as it can get. We're all best friends. We all hang out all the time. We're all always here pushing each other. So yeah, it's really been a pretty easy transition with the transfers coming in, the JUCO guys coming in, the freshmen coming in. Everyone's just kind of tagged along and helped each other out.
Anything to add, guys?
No, I would just say I completely agree. We've meshed, really well. We have so many new guys, so many new faces coming around, especially in the lineup now. Every day you see just a bunch of new faces. I think the thing that we've really, tried to push upon everybody is just being the best competitor you can be. And, look around, especially these two, how competitive they are each and every day. I think that's something we're trying to instill in the program. I want it to be a staple, in the top four. And I think that's something that's really taken off.
I don't think it's been announced yet. Your thoughts on the starting rotation going into this weekend?
No, it hasn't been announced yet. We'll have Perkins and Brim in there, and then probably the third guy will be just a culmination of who we have used in the first 2 days. But we haven't officially decided to announce, so I haven't sent that to Evansville yet. But Perkins and Brimmer will certainly be in there, with Perkins being on Friday and then Brimmer being there Saturday or Sunday, and we'll make the decision on the third starter, kind of probably at post-practice today and into tomorrow morning.
What was sort of the reasoning behind moving Perkins up to being the Friday starter? Certainly 3 consecutive quality starts, but was there something else there?
No, I just feel like he was deserving of the opportunity to do that. The stuff profiles as a Friday guy, 4 pitches, game manager, has the stamina to go into the 7th or 8th, and if you can have a Friday guy that gets you into the 7th or 8th, obviously it sets your bullpen up for success for the rest of the weekend. And of the guys that have started, obviously Bremer had a really good start last weekend, but he was a guy you feel like has a chance to set you up for the weekend, getting back to a 3-game week, more traditional week, to kind of get you into a position where your bullpen's set for the weekend, hopefully.
Do you feel that you are set? So say he does go, 6-7 innings, you got a lead. Do you feel confident about who you can hand the ball to at that point?
Yeah, you do. You look at Holderfield and Tucker and several of those guys you do feel better about. Obviously, our issue hasn't been necessarily as much without runners on base. It's been with runners on base. So as you have more of a body of work, you're able to look at more of like who's able to pitch with runners on base, execute pitches there, and those 2 guys come to mind. And both of them could start if you got to Sunday needed to. Tucker obviously started this past week and did a fine job. To kind of stretch him a little bit. So probably Holderfield and Tucker you feel the strongest about in that situation.
Okay. I know at one point you were talking about concerns with how seen these guys are, so going multiple times through the order. Is that still a concern with some of these guys?
Yeah, I really would like to get to where we're not overexposing. Now, if you have 2 guys that can get through it, which I think we do with Perkins and Bremer, but in an ideal world, you have 3 starters and you have a midweek starter and everybody goes 6 and you go from there. But I think for us, limiting the exposure is still the best way to go about it. That's how we'll look at Sundays in all likelihood and the midweeks as well. But I'm trying to not overexpose them, or if you do, pick in your spots to do it. Obviously, you're looking at profiles. Guys are going to be better in certain situations against certain parts of the lineup. But you can also pick different times to get those guys in. So we'll try to do the best that we can, but ultimately we need to have guys in there that can manage with base runners.
The defense continues to be quite stellar. I guess there's really nothing. I don't know how much there's to talk about other than to celebrate it.
Right.
But
yeah, it's something that we've really built towards, something that we've really worked towards, recruited towards, developed towards, and it is like it's that position play group offensively. We're playing primarily the way that we'd like to play, defensively the way that we would like to play, and to support the pitching staff all the way around. And those guys have been locked in. They've been incredibly focused and taking care of the ball at a very, very high clip. And that needs to be the expectation and the standard every day and moving forward, regardless of what's happening around. I tell those guys, you can't take your at-bats to defense, and you can't take your defense to your at-bats. So those guys have been great, but that needs to be the standard every day.
I feel that the pitching staff really has improved in throwing more strikes as a percentage overall. Yeah. Is it really just now getting to the point at which they're more of a variety in locating within the strike zone, or what is it that they really need to be working on?
Well, the big thing is you have more of a body of work now. And this past weekend was Xavier's lineup, where they really gave you a great sample of a team that's veteran, that has really good at-bats, doesn't swing and miss, and they can run the bases. And so when you add those things together for an inexperienced staff, you get really exposed. And what I mean by that is, if you look at your batting average against for the season without runners on base and with runners on base, you're looking at like a 50 or 60 point swing. So for us as an offense, it's like a 10 to 15 point swing. So you're seeing a much larger swing. So to me, what it says is, when I watch us, we have good stuff. Like the stuff isn't the question. The stuff is the applicability of it. So can we execute pitches in the fray, right? And so you assume that would be a little bit of the case with the whole new staff. It's been, in all honesty, it's been a little bit more dramatic than I had anticipated, or that I would like it to be. But what we've got to be able to do is execute pitches when there's runners on base, when our attention's split, when it's a much more difficult situation. And so we have done a better job. We are. I think we're up like 10 to 20% on our first pitch strikes, less leadoff walks, relatively speaking, and those kind of things. But you look at last week where you have 3 starts where you don't get out of the first inning, and it doesn't just impact that game; it impacts the next and the next and the next. So we're chasing our tail the entire week. So it's more difficult to even get a clear picture of it, of the strike throwing overall. But one thing I do know for sure is we have to be better with runners on base. We have to be able to mature and grow and to manage those base runners while also executing our pitches. And that's a sign of immaturity, of not being out there, of lack of experience. But that only goes so long and so far until you've been out there long enough to understand how to do this. And they run into some good offenses, but it's time for us to execute good pitches. Because I know we have good stuff. I've seen it time and time again. I watched it again yesterday. But just allowing your defense to work, communicating with your middle infield better, not being late to home plate with your face when you're trying to execute a pitch. The jailbreak lead at first base on some of those, trusting the calls from the dugout, trusting your first baseman, and those kind of things. Those take time and experience, but I feel like we have those, and it's time for us to do a great job of managing those situations. It's not for a lack of stuff. It's not because we're light on the mound. The only thing we're light on is experience, and it's just time now for us to apply the experiences that we have and to get better, because we are good enough to be good.
You got time for maybe one more?
You dropped the series to Xavier. Excuse me. Dropped the series to Xavier. Lost 6 of your last 8. You talked about the experience, but even through a little bit of that, is it a little bit advantageous to sort of face this and sort of realize maybe problems that you need to fix right before conference play? Yeah,
I think the earlier in the season that you can struggle and fail and experience those things, the better, right? You like to have that early. Last year with a couple of weeks left, we're in first place in the league and everything's going swimmingly, and then you start to face your real adversity in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and sometimes it can be hard to get up off the mat when it's so late and it kind of starts to go on you a little bit. So, we've had struggles. We've also had bright spots early in the season, and for us to face that adversity early on, to have those things explode, that's why you play good teams. Those teams have played well. They've won games, and so you play good teams, and you have those experiences, and you play veteran clubs, and they expose your weaknesses, they expose your flaws, and what it does, it creates learning opportunities. And the reality is, these aren't conversations that we haven't had, but you don't have a lot of substance behind them when you haven't had to go and do it in real time. And now it's like, do we understand the importance of when we talk about being able to manage base runners on second base and then executing a pitch. Do we understand the importance of that completely now? And so when you have those moments, you now are much more available to learn. And when we're available to learn, we can grow a lot faster. So I think you're absolutely right. And that's why there's no point in hollering and yelling and throwing a fit. It's just time to grow. It's just time to learn and teach and accept what's happened and then grow and improve from it. And that's what we'll continue to do. And I have complete confidence in the group. The group is very talented, very, very talented physically. We just have to grow through these things and learn to apply in real time. And it's time for us to do that.
Thank you for listening to this media session edition of Talking Hoosier Baseball. The Indiana University baseball team will be back in action tomorrow, Friday at 5 p.m., beginning the 3-game series with the Evansville Aces. We will see you at the Bart.